We are back. Game 6. World Cup between Team USA, Team UK, round 4. Gonna have Alex Black playing Mystery Knight, Martell Wolf, and Alex is playing Costas, playing
Yep,
Lanni Wolf.
both attrition decks. They are built with a very similar concept in terms of the Banner Wolf cards they're taking. So they're both running Bolton Flayers, both running Ramsey Snow, both running Ward. Alex has 3x of the No Save Arya. Costas only has the 1x. But in place of that, Costas is also running one copy of Star Karen Hall, which allows you to kill a character when it enters play. And he's also running 2 car holds, which is normally going to be to stop rush decks. But in this matchup, Costas never wants to play car hold because that would just make Desert Raiders on Alex's side so much better.
Right.
But otherwise, the game plan is really identical on both sides, just attritioning your opponent down to 0 and then just start cleaning up the board. The problem is, since they're both wanting to do the exact same thing, we're going to see pretty small boards the entire game. Kind of the big difference maker that can come up is the Red Keep on Lannister's side, because it's able to at least cancel one of the character tricks you're normally going to want to do out of Martell Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely a big issue that can come up. And right out the gate, we have Bowels of Castaway Rock, the Red Keep, and then Gates of the Moon. So this is a very good setup for Costas to be able to just get going.
Cancel. Yeah.
Yeah, get one cancel. He's got the Econ Draw engine in place because he's using a lot of Shadows cards. Because he's got the Bolton Flayers, but then out of Lannister, he's also running Mandon Moore, Robert Strong. He's running Regent's Guards, Shadow Tyrion, Shadow Cersei. So he's got a lot of tools to be able to attack without even having to do the typical challenges you'd expect. Which normally on the Martell Wolf side, you just slap down Dorn and then just start filtering through your deck. But when Cersei hits the board, you can just start pulling the cards out and only having to do the challenges you want or need at that point. And Dorn's not going to be as impactful because it's likely only going to happen like once or twice instead of like ideally 4 to 6. And an additional cancel element, he might be able to find his Alchemist Guild Hall, which allows him to cancel character abilities that don't have shadows. And Bolton Flayer is the only shadows card that Alex can play. So this is definitely a very good start to kind of counter the Martell attrition while being able to get your own attrition through.
These matches been going very long.
Wow. No one rushes out to a lead.
Okay, so it seems like Ramsey Snow is worthwhile to get the Desert Raider in the discard pile, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because granted, for Snow, going through, like, sure, it returns to hand, but Alex is not intending to discard Desert Raider unless, like, his hand is just so amazing he has to, which I don't think would ever happen.
No. Discard pile is the last place you want the Desert Raider, right?
Yeah, especially without any form of way to shuffle back in or get it recurred out. So yeah, that Desert Raider is now out of the way, and there's only 2 left to worry about. So outside of Ramsey, we have a card in Shadows, which could be quite a lot of choices here.
Could be anything.
Yeah. Again, Alex's Shadow potential is very straightforward, but we're looking at a lot of different options. We even have like Cat's Paws in the Lanni Wolf side to be able to return characters to hand, so he's got a lot of versatility. Because typically, like, Alex's setup here would have been really good. A Desert Raider Starfall, Dornish Fiefdom, like that feels really good. going into like a typical match, but when it's attrition on attrition and you're staring down an even better setup when it comes to econ and then just fouls for the engine to make the deck start running, and then red keep to be able to slow down your opponent, you're feeling pretty good.
All right, saving 5.
Yep, so that's threatens anything and everything. We'll have Alex just go ahead, though, and Green Blood Trader just start filtering through. And then we'll return to hand, start the challenges, so he'll be able to next turn do some more filters as needed.
If you're the Lannister player, what do you think? Are you sitting on that Starfall trigger, or is there something you're specifically looking to cancel from Alex?
Generally in Marshling, you don't care, because the one problem about if you decide to just cancel, say, the Green Blood Trader there,
Mm-hmm.
is Alex has like Liza, Aaron, and Last of the Giants in hand. He can just snap that off, let her die, and then immediately delete like Red Keep off the board,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's forcing you to draw another copy and then play it back out,
Mm-hmm.
and which, depending on where it is in the deck, if they never see Red Keep again, then it swings back to Alex's favor at that point, especially. Because what Alex is going to have to do the most is just try and essentially tax the Red Keep and force too many choices at them to where hopefully they pick the wrong one. Or it turns into a damned if you do, damned if you don't. So no Dorn in place, so we just have the Hound coming down. Gas and Grade doesn't matter here because Hound's going to return to hand anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And Red Keeps there anyway to just eat the Gas and Grade trigger.
I mean,
So
this deck, does
just
it have any like renowned characters that actually want to stay on the board for Lannister?
no, this is yeah, there's no renowned characters. The closest to a character you kind of want on the board would be Cersei, just so come challenge phase you can just start doing all the Shadows tricks to start having cards being discarded from hand.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have tools like Clever Feint or Shadow Tyrion to then like get your stuff back off the board. You have Regent's Guard to return cards to hand. So the general game plan is going to be no one of value is going to be left on the board by the time we reach back around to plots. And we have a card hold discarded, so
Not
just
surprising.
recognizing, yeah, that card was going to hit the discard pile either from going over reserve, or if he sees any gold mines, that's going to be one of the first few cards you see just hitting the discard pile, because he knows that is not needed for the game plan. And that's the other like power of Goldmine as well. Lannister struggle with draw. The filter that Goldmine gives you of being able to have cards like Carhold in there, and that in this matchup you don't want to see, you can just immediately replace,
Mm-hmm.
is really allows you to pack like specific answers without it feeling like a waste. And then on the other side, we have a Tears of List discarded. So Alex either has multiple copies in hand, or he's essentially assumed that he's not going to be able to get those through. So yeah, 5 locations against 4 locations and a card in Shadows.
Lanni off to a commanding 1 power lead.
Yeah. Just has an hour and 22 minutes to coast.
Okay. Nothing changed since the last stream. Suddenly I'm not working?
Are they not able to hear you? Or so
What about
next
now?
plot. We've got Riddle
Oh, okay.
at the gate.
So he's just messing with us.
So now we're just going for more econ on the board. Get Lion's Gate on Lannister's end. We get a Rose Road down on Alex's end. So
Oh,
econ's pretty well established.
it's a nice hit for when Varys Riddle hits at the gates. That's nice.
Yeah.
Does Alex run at the gates himself?
No,
Okay.
he's got just Riddle. He's got some flexibility though because Martell Wolf on its game plan is able to kind of like play to how setup goes. So like we saw on turn 1 where he flipped for Snow, like just to limit the potential because he knows there's not going to be much in the way of any big characters hitting the board. So at least making sure that there's no cheap characters just hitting the board and getting any like useful uh, like challenges through or any effects while he still gets set up. And we have Lancer going first. So Costas just puts down another Rose Road, 2 more cards in Shadows, sits on 5, so he's still threatening
Oh, okay.
all his possible characters. Though we do have Dorn coming back down, so that certainly helps. So now any challenge actually being pushed through, like he has Dorn to start being able to get triggers off of to start filtering, to start trying to find pieces.
All right. I haven't changed any settings from yesterday, but I've now turned up my mic setting from 0. So who knows? I don't know why things would change from yesterday to today, but
The magic of technology.
okay. So I've made a change. Can you hear 2 different voices now?
So we have an exciting challenge phase. Costas passes, Alex passes, Dom goes to Alex 7-5. So we are now tied 1 to
Tied 1 to
1
1.
after plot 2. Kind of funny thing about these type of attrition matches is people think of them as just being long and grindy and going to time. Yet turns like this will also go quickly. So this game's not going to end quickly, but we're going to be likely flipping through a lot of plots where I wouldn't be surprised if we go possibly 10 plots or more, depending on just how quickly we go. And you're also going to have them have to decide as this game goes on what plot they're going to pin. So you're going to have like, are they going to be pinning the resets? Is Alex going to like be pinning you win or you die? Those are decisions that are they'll have to make, because that can also make a big difference between like Alex having 2 march to the wall. He may be fine pinning one of those versus like pinning Valor Morghulis or Wind Die. And then on Costas' side, he may be okay like actually pinning his Valor Morghulis instead. So we'll definitely see like what route they're going to go. So we have Alex though flipping Lump from the Iron Bank, and we have Costas just burning Valor to Hyrus because he's pretty much accepted that's not going to be a reset he's concerned about. Dupes aren't really a concern of hitting the board against you. So Valor at Morghulis is going to be the more effective reset. And we just have Alex getting more established, just 2 green blood traders just further filtering, because the threat of Dorn's there, but there's no challenges being done on either end. It's really just a 4 gold location that's just standing there looking pretty. And then we also have Water Guardians coming down, so that's going to open up some good ambush potential with Venomous Blade. Gives them the capability of like doing a secret schemes and taxation. Threaten Last of the Giants, so he keeps a lot of potential there, and that's just another trigger now that the Red Keep is going to have to account for, because ultimately at this point for Alex to win this game, he's going to have to make Costas burn that Red Keep on a trigger he's fine losing, and so he just has to kind of like try and disguise either what he's wanting to do or just have like that one extra trigger where it doesn't matter which gets canceled, he's going to push through the action he wants. And then we have Tyrion coming out of shadows here, triggering battles to gain
In
2
marshalling,
golds.
yeah.
Yeah, marshalling is pretty safe here because he also has Red Keep. So if Alex, say, had Ramsey in hand, if Red Keep wasn't there, Alex would have absolutely gone for an action where he would have put Ramsey into play and swapped out for Arianne to get the Tyrion off the board. But in this case, no such luck. We do have Alex going first, and he is going to use Starfall. I would expect he's going for Tyrion's Intrigue icon, since he's shown both between open deck lists as well as his discard. Like, Tears of list is a threat, so Red Keep is something he may be wanting to force down. And we actually do have Red Keep used to cancel Starfall. And Alex still has 5 gold, so he has a lot of tools to work with still. 5 goals is also on Costa's side, so he still has like Robert Strong that can come flying out. He's got Cersei who can start attacking the hand. But at least at this point, it's like how much value was in that Starfall trigger. We don't know without seeing Alex's hand, but it's quite possible he's more than happy to have seen that cancel. Because we're still, Arianne's now a free trigger. We also have the possibility of like Dornish spies coming in. So he could always have like a Dornish spy drop down, and then Tyrion, if he goes into a challenge, you can Southern Messenger him back to hand just to make him less effective. Because Tyrion is actually a character you don't want winning challenges, because he also gets insight. And if they're able to keep pace with the filter of Dorne just by drawing cards, that's going to keep them right there with Alex, and ultimately Red Keep is going to be kind of the backbreaker and getting them over top.
I mean, yeah, Tyrion's kind of, he's good enough to definitely Gaston, so, right.
Potentially. We do have an intrigue challenge, and now we're having a Last of the Giants come down. And we're having Liza Aaron hit the board. So this is going to be now the window, unless there's like an Alchemist Guild Hall in Shadows. This is pretty much Alex's chance to go for that Red Keep.
Gotcha. So why does Alex do this in the middle of an intrigue challenge?
I'm curious why he's doing it here as well. Because one possibility is, so he may be fearing that Cersei is a threat. So if Cersei had come out of Shadows, she immediately would trigger her reaction, which is discard a card from random.
Right.
So
and that either two possible hits there that would ruin this. So
yeah, in a 7-card hand where you need 2 specific cards to remain in hand, that's too much of a risk to take, especially if you don't have a chance to possibly filter for the other. And Liza is only a 1x, so if Liza hits the discard pile, that goes the answer. It's like it's gone at that point. You do have Tyrion winning on defense. He'll at least get the insight draw, and then we're going to have Arianne triggered to put Ramsey into play. So we'll see the Greenblood Trader and Tyrion go away. That's a very good line so far. Biggest concern is really like pushing any challenge with Ramsey, because with the entry out of the way, there's no reason to do military here, and you don't want to put Ramsey in a Robert Strong's way, because you still need that threat of Ramsey. So I would definitely expect, with him on the board there, we're going to see March to the Wall as Alex's next plot, just so there's no potential of like Valor Morghulis clearing that threat away, especially now with Arianne. So you've got tools to start really forcing Lannister to react or play differently, because they have to start dancing around that possibility. We do have Cersei coming out of Shadows. We have no Save Arya hit.
Mm-hmm.
We have no gold now remaining. Now, the problem is this could be kind of a bait at this point because there's a number of ways that Cersei can get removed from the board before like a military could go through. So you could have the possibility of Ironbank will have its due to pick her up. Then
Mm-hmm.
if Alex swings the military, Ramsay then dies. You have the possibility of Regent's Guard returning her to
Well,
hand.
wait. So, but there's not enough gold for something to kill Ramsay anymore, is there?
Ironbank would be needed to do it.
Right, Iron Bank will do it. Right.
Yeah, Ironbank will do it. But Clever Feint can also remove her from the board. And then
And
there's
Iron
always
Bank
the
is definitely an option, right? That's part of the
yeah.
deck.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got 2 copies of it. It's
2 of
definitely
them.
something you have to respect a lot. So, Cersei comes out though to defend this power challenge. We'll win it 5-3. We'll have another Dorn trigger. So this is still very ideal. And this is kind of where the game's going to be really fought. Is just every single power is going to matter
Mm-hmm.
immensely.
Cersei's not going to be on the board going into plots, right?
No, but if she cannot be on board till plots or she gets removed. Like by the time the next plot window has resolved, she is off the board.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they have like a Chud character they put out there, but then it's the potential of like just slapping the Valor Morgulis to kill Cersei, because removing Cersei opens up so much more. If Alex could walk away with Red Keep out of play and then Cersei dead, then this game feels very good for him from there, because then his hand's safe from her shenanigans. Red Keep out of the way, at least for a time, means his stuff's going through clean, and that would really swing that game back.
All right. Well, here's your Iron Bank. Just as we. So, did Alex
Yeah.
walk into this, or is this you got to make him have it, or?
He's going with you got to make it have it. So it's quite possible they still don't have Robert Strong,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just going to be a nope, get her out of the way.
Right.
We do know Hound is still in hand, so with 8 gold, the Hound is now able to do 2 challenges. So it's also possible he's just going to come down, do power, do military, and walk away, and be fine with that, because that's still going to fare pretty well. The military is not very valuable at the moment
Mm-hmm.
because Lysa's just going to
It's
die, and
just an unopposed, yeah.
she's just going to die anyway, and you're fine with that. And it really depends on how many Dorn triggers you want to give. Because right now, if he does just the power challenge, there'll be a tie on Dom, and you might just be satisfied with that. And not care about an extra Dorn trigger and an extra unopposed.
Five reserve here, plus 2 is 7. 7 cards in hand. No second challenge. What would be a push on Dom?
Yep, yeah, they're just going to go with push on Dom. He's fine going 3-1. Red Keep removed from play. So now Alex is feeling a little bit better. He's hoping those 2 other copies are deep into that deck at this point, because then he can start doing the damage.
But you think, like, Lissa's main target in this game is Red Keep?
Yes, Red Keep is what he has to go to, and so that Starfall trigger may have been very much a case of where it's like, I don't really care which way this goes, because like if Alex has the like Tears of List, for example, if Starfall goes through, he gets to at least
doesn't matter that much.
tag. Yeah, losing the Greenblood Traders not big. I mean, it's impactful just to clear one more character off the board, but on the other end, it's like that's also a character that Ward could come and snag and all sorts of things, and just that one extra body against attrition can mean the world.
It's back.
Yep. It's definitely back. And I don't think any of the triggers they did with Bowels were for draw. I think it was all for gold, which means he just naturally either had a copy in hand or drew into it. Does put them down to 4 gold. So their shadow threats are limited. They can still put Hound down. But Alex is working with 10 gold here, so depending what he has in hand, he can actually do quite a bit here to just try and start creeping back. Because at least the cheap threats that could be played out of shadows would be something like Old Bill Bone or Penny. There's also the possibility of like an ambush target like Gunther, Son of Gorn, to just be able to try and attack at the hand more. But knowing you don't have to worry about Tyrion or Cersei right now feels really good with them being that gold short. And there's no gold roads to generate that additional gold you would typically need. That Shadow Dex that really love being able to typically need. Shadow Dex and then Alex really just going to put Arianne down. He's going to put Bolt and Flare into shadows.
Right, there's no mystery.
Yeah, power icons are going to be the most valuable of the icons in this matchup. Winning and losing the power challenge here is where this game's really going to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where like Red Keep may just have to target Starfall. But you still have like Dornish Spies that are going
the
to be
Hound
able
seems
to.
really good in this matchup.
Hound is very annoying because there's no good way to get rid of him. Because he's never going to touch the board in any phase other than challenges. It's not going to happen. So he's always going to be returned to hand, or if there, for whatever reason, if the situation called for it, you could have Tyrion like putting him into shadows, but he's always going to be off the board because you cannot afford to lose the Hound to a ward.
Right. Well, does Alex have any good ward targets?
Well, ultimately, just stealing any character is worthwhile. Gunthor's would be a very good one because being able to steal him, and then if you win challenges, forcing your opponent to discard a card as a reaction,
Sure.
plus any entry claim from there, like that would be a very like good grab. Let's see what else we've got. Mandon Moore potentially is like another good one if you can grab, just so any looping with like Regent's Guard, Clever Feign, or Tyrion is then off the table. So there's, even if it's stealing like their Arya or Bolton Flare, like just being able to control those specific cards and just having them on your board, so it's just one more character you have, one less for your opponent. That's ultimately what's going to matter.
All right, so kind of walking into a Hound here, almost intentionally. So like Hound, Starfall, Red Keep is what's kind of expected.
Yeah, what Alex could be sitting on though, conversely, is if he has so this is a very interesting play. We have underhanded methods coming out to get a Bowels trigger. He is now threatening a Robert Strong from Shadows.
So he could trigger her right now. It could be a bluff too.
Yes, this could absolutely be a bluff, but losing Ariane is kind of huge. But you're also, at this point, removing a power challenge against you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they decide, unless Alex calls the bluff and there's no Robert Strong, this is going to work out very well for Costas, because then he'll have Hound money, so he can do his own power challenge through. He can red keep Starfall, which
Well,
would
he's
then
already
force
passed
Alex.
challenges. He's passed challenges.
Oh,
So.
excuse me. Yeah, yep. Yeah. So, excuse me. Uh, he's at least deleting this power challenge.
Well, and the way Ariane works too here is like Ariane can return to hand, and Red Keep doesn't stop that. It's just the return effect, right? It's
Well,
you can't lock her on the board, I don't think, because the return to
the
hand
cancel would keep her on the
would
board,
it?
because you have, yes, because it's a den effect, so you have to put the character into play
Oh,
and then
okay,
return it.
okay.
So, in this case, he does very much have. Ariane is very much pinned there.
But in the end, Alex did not attempt.
Yeah, well, kind of surprised there at least wasn't the attempt for it to try and like tax the red keep just a little bit further. Instead, though, he did opt for making them have it. Now he still has some potential of being able to like possibly get a kill through. Depends if there's a clever feint, Iron Bank, or Regent's Guard to then like get Robert Strong off the board.
Right.
Otherwise, if you have a Dornish Spy between that and Starfall, you can remove the icon, get the challenge through. Alternatively, you could always put down a character with an intrigue icon, go for Tears of Lys, and just hope they don't have a return to like a leave play effect, just to try and remove that threat.
I mean, right? Without that leave play effect, a Dornish Spy kind of works here, right? Because we have two attempts to remove that icon.
Yes. And even if it's like Dornish Spy coming down, then intrigue icon, intrigue attack to get like a Tears through, because he has Water Gardens to push that through. Instead, we're just going to have challenges end. Dominance will go to Costas, 4-1, and that Robert Strong, it's not long for the board.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if actually Costas is the one that flips March to the Wall here.
Mm-hmm. To protect
Just
him.
as a, yeah, well, not just protect you, like you're already anticipating like your opponent might march to the wall as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were to go for like a Valor Morghulis,
Yep.
losing it's just that one threat.
That's what I mean by
that,
protect him. Yeah.
yeah. Plus,
4-1.
also flipping March, if your opponent doesn't march, you're then controlling initiative as well. So depending on what they flip, you have some flexibility. But in terms of what we have left right now, so we've seen first no, Riddle, Lone, and a March from Alex. So we have Morghulis, Wind Die, or one more March as an option. And this is where we're now getting to the point of where what are we going to pin to the board is really coming to play, because they have to choose one of those three remaining plots. So Alex has to decide whether it's going to be Wind Die, Morghulis, or the March. We have them both marching to the wall. Costas having more power, so he'll lose the initiative, and he'll have to go first. Costas flipping March as well, kind of as we expected there. And now what Costas is staring down of what he would have to possibly pin, he's down to Loan from the Iron Bank or Valor Morghulis.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Alex is staring at Valor Morghulis, and you win or you die. I would expect Alex is going to opt for Valor Morghulis potentially as the pin,
Mm-hmm.
just to have Win Die as being able to get multiple 2 claims through, because that's how he can really get back in this game, is be able to get like a power challenge on a Wind Die turn, and then be able to get back to the next one, get another power challenge through, and at that point you're able to be much further ahead. Conversely, though, that also allows them to start putting down a board without fear of the Morghulis So that's kind of the counterpoint to pinning Magulus over Windeye. And granted, the Econ's very well set up on Costas' side, so he might be completely fine with even pinning Lone from the Iron Bank and just taking the -1 gold just because his Econ setup is so good.
Yeah.
And then he can also keep Valor Magulus alive. So that's the other decision point they're working with, not only throughout this turn and what they're going to marshal, how they're going to play out, and that Alchemist Guild Hall is not fun to see if you're Alex. Now that's 2 points have canceled that are now staring you down. And while there's only one copy of it, there is the Queen's Assassin for if Alex ever has fewer cards in hand. For 4 gold, Costas could just ambush Queen's Assassin and force a kill on a character. And because these are going to be such small boards, that could be very impactful in the challenge phase of just losing a character like that. So we're going to have Cersei come out of shadows here. Gain 2 gold. Kind of interesting to see her hit the board here and get a dupe. Because you would expect there to at least be one more character put down on the board, because unless he's expecting that Red Keep is going to be enough to protect the Ramsey and any other shenanigans going through.
Oh, well, you've got 2 different cancels of Ramsey now, right?
Yeah, you do have Guildhall Red Keep, but Red Keep, you're at this point kind of holding off for anything else, essentially. We have a Water Gardens is going through right now. It's kind of interesting that Alex is deciding to take the Water Gardens here, unless he's just anticipating or threatening the ward. I'm not sure what else he could play. But we will have Green Blood Trader hitting the board. So in Shadows, I would expect either Penny or Old Bill Bone to be there. March to the Wall is out of the way for both at the moment. So it would take straight up military plus like a tiers to be able to get Cersei off the board. But also with essentially 2 Valor Maguluses being threatened. So we have 9 gold, 10 cards on Alex's side.
Not sure that was the greatest use of Water Gardens. Was he trying to bluff something there?
I feel like he had to have been bluffing something, because 1 for Secret Schemes isn't great, especially when you then likely drew that Dornish fiefdom and paid the 2. He likely still has enough money for what he wants to do, but certainly see. We do have Cersei coming in here on a power challenge.
Alex has no like nightmares or anything like that, does he?
Correct. Now he does have Starfall here. He can always do to like get an icon strip, but he didn't do that before challenges to at least try and tax the Red Keep.
Right. So, but the Southwind Messenger trigger could still be handled by the Guild Hall, and you could still have Gaston Grey handled by the Red Keep. Right?
Yeah. What would be more of a not letting the power challenge at least go through. It's like force her into intrigue only, and even if you or you force the Red Keep to have to cancel the Starfall, and then you do open up like Ghastly Ray to at least remove Cersei from the board.
Mm-hmm. So you're thinking Starfall should have gone off.
Well, without knowing what Alex has in hand,
Yeah.
because
Hard to say.
he might it's like, and he may be anticipating like at least one or two more tricks coming. So he may be fine letting this power challenge go through if he's got a line on his own side, because Cersei at least is knelt now, and with 1 gold, the only character they're threatening that could like block a power challenge would be Penny. We do have an underhanded methods coming out just to get a Cersei trigger, and Bowels as well to gain 2 gold. Alex loses a Water Garden, so
we'll take it.
You feel really good about letting that card go away.
Mm-hmm.
Because Alex is savvy enough to know that duping locations right now does not matter. He needs as much in hand as he can to just be able to eat potential discard soak. So now there's only 1 card left. It opens up a few more possibilities with 3 gold to where it could be like a Mandan Moore, or one of the cheap characters as well. Still, could be a Bolton Flare even as well.
We're still in the action window, Defender's action window, right?
Yeah, we're still within
So this is
power challenge.
This is like the Lanni prompt, we think.
Well, they did underhanded methods. I would have to imagine is likely on Alex right now, because otherwise, yeah. So gotcha. Alex is thinking right now, because otherwise, like if you're not going to do anything, you're just going to pass at least the defender window, and then maybe do something from there. All right, so we have no shenanigans on either side. Power challenge will be 1.
No further shenanigans.
Dorn will trigger. He'll attempt the Guessing Ray, so I expect this is where Red Keep's going to go. So the line Alex seems to be going with is he has plans to where he wants that Red Keep to either make them go, oh, they have more tricks, I'll let this through and just take Cersei off the board and at least have her like safe in hand. Or you're then forcing the Red Keep to drop here, and then you're going to be able to Starfall and, potentially get through up to 2 character abilities. And they're actually accepting the Guessing Ray. They're just going to let Cersei go back to hand.
6-0.
Which, if you're Alex, again, you're kind of fine with that, because that's just 1 resource you burn to get Cersei at least off the board, instead of having to potentially like go through like a Starfall into another card. This does open up, though, an unopposed intrigue currently. If we don't know what the card in Shadows is, so if it's a Bolton player, they can at least still defend it. Because an intrigue challenge going through and like snagging the Hound would be really impactful. There's only two in the deck, so again, if you grab the 1 copy, you're then forcing them to go and find the second one, unless they've been lucky enough to draw it already.
A good target too now, right?
Yeah, Cersei is another one, because you already have 1 in the discard pile. If you put another one in there, then they have just 1 copy left. So at least in that hand, there's 2 out of 7 that you want to pull right here. We're going to have no defense. So get the unopposed, and he just claims Arya Stark. So not quite the pull you're hoping for.
Yeah, right. And that Arya is kind of a tough one to even for Lannister to even play, right? Because that's a ward target. That's a pretty good ward target, isn't it?
It's a war target. It's also not benefiting you in this matchup. So
Mm-hmm.
for the Lancer style attrition, that how that Arya plays in. Granted, it's only one copy, uh, but you would get her down on the board, and you have your Shadows characters who can be either safe in Shadows, safe in hand, or you can always return to hand through the different tricks. And Arya can just sit on the board. So if you're playing against typical mid range where they're putting all their characters on the board, they're duping them, that Arya just rips through that board, and then you just continue on playing your game because all your valuable pieces are still safe. Whereas Alex is running 3x because there's really no integral character that if it dies is outside of Ariane, but she's only a 1x. That's going to really hurt to lose versus killing a Cersei in this match completely swings things back around.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so
Both players have to Valor at some point, right?
yes, and as we're saying at the beginning of the marshaling, that what they had to decide coming into this turn is what are they pinning, because that
Mm-hmm.
dictates so much about how they're marshaling. So this is going to tell us right now whether Alex is valuing that Morgulis over the wind die, because it's 5-4 right now. Like all it takes is a wind die plot 6, and then even plot 8 with 2 claim power challenges if he's able to get those through. To just shoot him so far ahead potentially that he's able to make up ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, they do have characters right now. If Costas were to loan from the Iron Bank here, and Alex goes win die, which he has to be thinking about. If Alex has ward to counter Costas's wards, being able to pick up these characters means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually going to have loan into Valor Morgulis. So we'll have Windeye pinned on Alex's side for the 7th plot, and then we'll have Valor Morgulis pinned on Costas' side. So Alex is deciding Valor Morgulis is too important for this matchup.
Okay.
To be able to just have them put down the characters kind of safe. This is going to make, though, Alex go first, which does hurt a bit because having that House Dane escort in the discard pile, this is the last turn you're able to play them out until you've possibly cycled through a number more plots.
See, I think the thing I was, that I was thinking, I don't know Alex's hand, but what one of those Martell tricks is you play Wind Die right now.
Yep.
And then you save your secret schemes, you get through taxation, you kneel Water Gardens, and you pop it. Then and you've refreshed your hand after your Wind Die turn, and then you that's a play, right? That's a standard Martell trick.
Yep, exactly. Plus, they also get the reserve bonuses. So between Dorne, Summer Seaport.
Well, that's how you save secret schemes. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, if he has 1 or 2 more Summer Seaports, if he plays them out, that's even more reserve to start kicking. So I am a little surprised. Again, not knowing what is in Alex's hand.
Alex is a million times better than me, so I'm sure he understands what's going on here.
Oh yeah. Oh no, like I said, it's I'm sure he has a line in play, or he's just valuing the Morgulis more. But the House Dane escort, knowing from the open deck list, you're guaranteed to win initiative, where you could win die and get the House Dane escort onto the board and be able to at least have that impact there. Plus, you're making your opponent go first, so they have to either play very shadows to the board, or only be putting big characters down during marshaling because they have to fear ward, they have to feel venomous blade, all the fun little tools that can come at them. We do have, though, Tyrion hitting the board, and Costas right now, though, is having to play with having to get any important characters off his board before plots. So we have seen already 1 Iron Bank. There's still 1 more Iron Bank. There's 2 Clever Feints. There's also the 2 Regents Guards. So getting Tyrion off this board There are definitely many different ways to do it. And challenges, we have Starfall being the initial trigger. I have to imagine he's going to try and target the power icon on Tyrion. Yep, and he does get the power icon, so it's kind of forcing it to be the Hound, to be the character that will win the power challenge. So with 7 gold and 3 cards in shadows plus Bowels, of course, is going to be another trick for getting resources. And Tyrion's ability himself is also enough to be able to save himself.
Right.
All you need is just that one card coming out of shadows that's not an event, and he just goes right back into shadows, safe as can be. But we'll have intrigue coming through, Tyrion. We'll just go through unopposed. So that's a big thing that Alex is going to have to fight against, is how many unopposed challenges. Plus, expecting the Hound is going to be coming down to get that power challenge through, is how far you're going to be able to let them get before they're just too far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, it's another good discard for Alex. Like, losing the Arya is not a big concern here.
So we are coming up on 11 o'clock. These games are going to be starting to overlap. I don't know if people are going
Yep.
to wait, but we have a lot of games in a limited period here, so we're not going to be able to cover everything.
Yep, exactly. We do have Cersei now coming out of shadows. She'll trigger her ability, get a Tears of Lys.
Do you think this means?
And Battles gain 2. We'll see if Tyrion's trigger happens at all here. Because if not, this is telling, like, right now, this board tells me a Clever Feint is almost assuredly in hand.
And Alex has no cancel on that, right? There's no Hand's Judgment or anything.
Nope, no way to stop the Clever Feint. If they have it, they have it. And even with like flipping Varmagulis next turn, they're going to have 8 gold to work with naturally between the plot plus the econ on board. So 8's still a lot to work with. Especially since they likely have Robert Strong in shadows at this point, so he is going to be able to kind of fight any threats that come through. We have the power challenge coming through. It's going to be undefended. So unopposed and claim. It's going to cost us up to 8 power.
All right, and Neil and I are coordinating to hopefully try to cover everything here today, so we'll see. I thought I'd seen something where like James, the Walmsley game might wait for this to finish before they start, but then we've got 2 games at one also that are gonna.
Yep.
I can see that James is a spectator on this match, so.
Yeah, we have both Wama and Robert spectating, so yeah, their game's not kicking off unless they decide to just bounce. But yeah, it definitely looks like they're going to be watching this through to the end.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so this is definitely a clever feint, right? There's just all 3 characters out there.
Yeah, they're just pushing through as many unopposed challenges as they can right now. They're just trying to get that power total up because they know wind die is being flipped on the opposing end, so they know that's coming. They know what they're going to have to fight against. So if they're able to just pad the power total up as much as possible, so right now they're in line to get up to 9 power. They'll lose Dom currently, and then we have Red Keep canceling. I have to imagine.
That's interesting.
Canceling Dorn, no less.
Oh, this is because
Uh,
Alex had to go first, so
yeah,
there's no swinging back here or anything.
yeah. At this point, he doesn't respect there to be any type of tricks, so he's just gonna go ahead and do that. And on top of Alchemist Guild Hall, like even if for whatever reason this board was still there, like in
Mm-hmm.
Dom, like the Last of Giants Varus play, like it's not even open. But I can't see this board still being there. Like, so we do have underhand methods coming out. This should be the third and final Cersei trigger. We have a ward discarded.
I'm not sure we care a lot about that. Or it's not the magic card it is in some other matchups.
They used Tyrion to put a Rose Road back
Definitely have
into
clever.
Shadows.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's clever feint, but also like, so the fun thing about putting a Rose Road like back in Shadows like that
Yeah.
is then come taxation period, you can just pop it out, and then you can either draw a card or gain 2 gold. And knowing you're going to a Valor turn, I expect that Rose Road is going to give them 2 gold. This also tells us that up here
Oh,
and here comes the
hey,
clever feint.
shocker.
Yep, just keeping everything back in. Four cards in hand, it's still just fine. This is also going to let him possibly, even if he needs to draw cards, he can always use the Lion's Gates here as well. He even puts the Alchemist Guild Hall back into Shadows just to put that away. It's kind of so that likely is going to be
Why'd you do that?
uh,
Just to get another Cersei trigger at some point, or
potentially.
what? Was it an
Oh no,
accident?
nope. So he had 2 gold left over. So in dominance, he's going to draw a card. So no, he's just turning it. He
Oh, he
just
just
turned
got
it
another
into a
bell.
draw one.
Yeah, he turned it into a
Yeah,
ballast trigger. Okay.
yeah, yeah. He's just doing it as a cantrip.
Costas clearly knows all of the
Yeah.
little
Um.
manipulations here, right?
Yeah. It's a common trick. Like Kino Shadows would also do that with ones that ran tunnels, Red Keep, to where you, if you don't have anything else for your gold, you're just gonna like keep popping in shadows and bringing it out to trigger battles to like draw cards. So sometimes you're just left over with like 4 or more gold, and so you can just do the cheeky stuff where you're just popping something in and out of shadows just to
Mm-hmm.
be able to start getting through more cards. Which a Lancer deck drawing cards is impressive enough as it is. All right, and then right into plot 7. So it's 9-4. Wind Die versus Valmargulis. And not surprisingly, we're going to have Costas going first here. Because between having no claim and everything, now there's still, again, Cersei is a problem and a concern. I'm definitely expecting that Rose Road to come out either in this plot phase. Yep, here we go. It was either coming out in the plot phase or the draw phase.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to gain 2 gold. Because depending on what was in their hand, I could have seen them possibly wait to the draw phase to decide if they want to bring it out for the gold or whether if they want to dig for 1 more card. Because that would have been the other line to just see what you're going to naturally draw and then decide whether you need just another piece or whether you need the gold.
So many cards.
And yeah, he'll have 10 gold for this marshaling, so he can already afford both Tyrion and Cersei.
Not bad on a Valor turn.
He can also just start banking cards into shadows. because he's also not losing if he does nothing this turn. And we know Hound is still safely in hand as well. And this is where power icons are very much a premium for Alex. He needs to get as many as he can out. The problem is, like, Robert Strong and Hound are the two major issues he has to contend with on the other side.
I'll be back in 30 seconds.
All right. And Cost is just going to sit on 8 gold. Not surprisingly, no challenges coming from Costas' side. No power icons, unfortunately, currently for Alex. He's going to have to rely on, like, Southern Messenger for ambush to be able to get one down.
I'm back.
Alternatively, let's see. Looking at trying ways that we could possibly have a power icon come down on Alex's side. There is the possibility of Last of Giants into Jock and Agar, not exactly high value. So Intrigue went through unopposed, snagged Hound and Gold Road, Hound being like the big piece here. And we do have Last of the Giants actually going off. So is this for the Jock and Agar to try and push through the power challenge? The problem is with 8 gold, Costas can still afford both Cersei and Tyrion. Plus, you have underhanded methods, so this power challenge is not guaranteed through at all. Unless he's just hoping to be able to then get a military through. But yeah, barring there being another Hound in hand, this is just forcing both Cersei and Tyrion, or Cersei and or Tyrion with an underhanded method to come out of shadows here. Or he's just going to let the 2 claim through. But a 3 power swing here is a lot to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So we will have Tyrion come out.
Starfall attempt to take the...
You 100% have to attempt the Starfall, and if you have 2 Dornish spies in hand, you can push through the steal of the power icon. And then at best they could bring Cersei out, and then an underhanded methods to block from there, and essentially expend all their resources.
So you're expecting a Dornish spy here?
That may be the attempt. You're still not going to win the power challenge. in this line. So we have one Dornish Spy. Guildhall likely going to cancel this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Guildhall will cancel. Costas is making Alex have the one more spy, and then I'll bring Cersei out, plus the underhand method, and stop the power challenge that way. Unless he is accepting that he can't let, if he does not have like a Regent's Guard, Clever Feint, or Iron Bank,
He's gonna lose one of them, huh?
then you do have to accept that one of
Right.
them's going to die. I mean, just looking at the number of cards left in deck, it's here. Alex is almost half the deck size compared to Costas right now. Like Costas is still 32 cards to go, and Alex is down to 18.
What's also now, Alex just has a lot of cards on the board too, right? Like
Yeah,
there is some board presence issues now that Lanni can't reset, right?
yeah. So Adamopoulis is now off the table.
Cersei comes out and hits another Dornish Spy. That's too bad.
Yeah. At this point, just makes Alex's decisions of what two cards he's currently keeping a little bit easier. There's still 4 cards in Shadows. We know Underhand Method is one of them. So we'll have the block for 5.
And this is a free shadow card.
And then Underhand Method's free. So it's going to come out, get a Cersei trigger, pump her up to 8. And then we have a Varys hit, which, again, between Red Keep and Alchemist Guildhall, Varys was not going to do anything. And Costas is also not a deck that's playing to the board in the same way you would want to use a Varys. So at this point, with no gold, Iron Bank, Clever Feint, those are the...
There's still plenty of ways that Lannister can get out of this, right?
Yeah, and Regent's Guard can also be used to save essentially both characters. So if they have a Regent's Guard, it can come out of Shadows for free by returning one of the 2 characters to hand. So in this case, you would Regent's Guard Cersei to hand.
Yeah.
And then you trigger Tyrion's reaction to put him back into Shadows.
Yep.
And then the Regent Guard dies
after
the block in the challenge, and Alex is still staring at, a deficit of essentially 9 to 5. He can still get Dom here, but not. He's still got
9 to
the
6
uphill.
with you win or you die pinned as well. So
yeah. And with Tyrion and Cersei still alive, it's the big element. Because if Alex could actually kill these 2 here, what would be a 9 to 6 deficit is very much easier to climb out of. Because on the Lannister side, power icons are also a premium. They don't have a lot of them. Let's see, just running through the characters. So they have Cersei 3x, Penny as a 1x. They've got Hound as a 2x, and they have Tyrion at a 2x. Those are all the cards they have with power icons.
what is the rules question here? The another.
In Tyrion's text refers to the card that came out of Shadows, right? So, yep, Costas is just confirming that, and that is correct. So the way Tyrion works is whatever card comes out of Shadow, that card itself cannot. So we actually have Tyrion using his ability from the underhanded underhand methods to then pop himself back in Shadows.
Right.
So now we have Regent's Guard as a threat to get Cersei off the board, protect him. Yeah, so the only card ineligible to go back in Shadows was the underhanded method. We'll have the military come through. We'll see how much Alex sends. At a minimum, he wants 2 characters in, so that like a Regent's Guard at 4 strength can't just block and defend.
Does sending all 3 open up the door for Lanni to win dominance at all?
Currently, no.
Okay.
It's one gold in play. We have a Lion's Gate being popped to draw 2 cards, so now he's digging for the Clever Feint or the Iron Bank. So he does not have Regent's Guard at this point, is what that's telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you just Regent's Guard and you can still Lion's Gate and dig for pieces if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely see if the other Lion's Gate ends up being used, if he has to dig even further. So as we approach the 20-minute mark, March to the Walls are still in hand. Wards are going to possibly become really relevant. We've seen Alex discard 1.
Okay, there's
We
the
have
second
not
Lion
seen
Gate.
Costas discard any. Yep, so this is digging further. He was hoping to see an Iron Bank or Clever Feint, so he saw neither.
So,
There were only one of each to see, so...
yeah. So, Dead
Uh,
Cersei, that's something.
No, Dead Cersei is very relevant. It's now 9-7 is the big thing here. So he was able to get the unopposed to be able to get that power there. So it's now closer to a 2-power gap.
Yep.
He also has closed down this econ advantage a little bit. He
Yep.
has some tools. Not having the 2-claim wind die kind of does hurt. And then power icons, like we have at least 1 House Dane Escort sitting in the discard pile. There's still 2 more. Have to imagine Alex is either drawn them or is going to draw them soon. And then we're going through taxation. We have a poison coin, Bolton Flare, Bowels, and Red Keep. So again, dupes are just toss elements. We have a Summer Seaport and a Ramsey being discarded on Alex's side. Don't remember Water Guardians being used last turn unless he was just keeping that up as a threat. So a little surprised that Summer Seaport at least didn't get played. Or he was just trying to keep a handful instead because of Cersei's.
Could have gotten it through Dorn, right?
Yeah, possible as well. All right, and now they have to think on plots here, and there's a lot to think about on this one because initiative matters. First snow into Loan from the Iron Bank. So Alex is going to win initiative. Currently, his entire board is going to return to hand.
Interesting. That's what he wants.
Yeah. So it's either
I guess, but you can bring the Dorner spies back, right?
Yeah. The biggest thing he wanted or needed is to be able to go second here.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he doesn't flip for snow, but he's still able to go second, then any like wards he's able to fight against, and just still characters right back. So at least minimizes the power of that. But he's also running low on ways to do power challenges and defend power challenges. So remaining on Lancer's side, so we know Tyrion is hiding in shadows. It's the last copy of Tyrion. And then Penny and Hound are the only ones. So we have at this point, legally only Tyrion, Hound, and Penny can win power challenges on the Lancer end. We haven't seen Penny yet. We don't know if they've drawn to the second Hound. They still have Red Keep to really tax through power icons from being stolen by Starfall. Alchemist Guildhall can stop 1 spy, But right now, if Costas doesn't have a penny or a hound, Alex is able to shut off at least the power challenge this turn. It takes everything to do it, but at least it's an option. And we have Alex sitting on 12 gold. And on Alex's end,
I have a location coming to play, huh?
yeah, I have to imagine. So on the power icon side, on Alex's side, ooh, okay, I see what Alex is doing here. So he's doing Venomous Blade. He's going to kill his Desert Raider here. So Venomous Blade, you just have to choose a character with cost 2. And this is forcing kind of Costas to now think about this red keep trigger,
Canceling
and
this?
he cannot cancel this. He can stop a Desert Raider with Guildhall or Red Keep. He cannot choose to cancel this because he knows there's way too many tricks he has to deal with. So having the dead Desert Raider at this point, you just have to kind of like
It's a way to get a power icon too, so right?
you have to kind of accept this.
You think? He's
I
thinking
think
about
you
it.
have. If you red keep this, Alex is going to be ecstatic. Because that means Starfall is now going through clean, and he has 2 Dornish spies he can still play with, so he can shut down the power challenge. On top of that, if Alex has Southern Messenger, which is the one power icon he can ambush in, and we actually are having a red keep on the Venomous Blade. So I think that's actually huge for Alex, because now there's only one form of cancel for this challenge phase.
And there's nothing that cancels Starfall, right?
Nothing cancels Starfall. So Alex needs that one other copy of Southern Messenger. I believe we've only seen the one. We have one dead. Yeah, so we haven't seen the other one. So unless the other one is in the bottom 15 cards, Alex can get a power challenge through, potentially. Let's see. Other tricks he has potential for. Arahota, if he's drawn into him, can always kick character out. We still have 7 gold to work with, so Lancer's not out of it.
Right.
But if you're Alex, you're feeling very good about getting that red keep trigger right there in marshaling, because it opens up a lot more in this challenge phase for you.
Is Alex like he has to? If he's going to take that power icon, he's got to do it right now, right?
Yes, unless he's got like another line he's going to start playing.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of greedy play would be hope you can get Southern Messenger through, like mid challenge, but I can't see Costas falling for that. Like Costas is played this game very smartly all the way through. I cannot see him letting like a Southern Messenger through. And the big threat Alex has to worry about is a Robert Strong on the other end, can also just end his dreams of getting a power challenge through on the other side.
They're really thinking about it.
Yeah. So we're going to have Dornish Spy first, so he's going to force the first cancel. So he wants to see if that Guildhall gets used here. Which makes sense, because so Starfall is essentially free.
Mm-hmm.
There's no concern about Starfall not working. So if they cancel this, you then know all the tricks you have in hand that you can go through with, and you still have Starfall in your back pocket. So you can strip the power icon, for example, here, if they don't cancel, and then Starfall lets you really leverage any other character that comes out of Shadows and control them.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually will have the spy strip the power icon. So Costas is respecting.
It's fear of Southern Messenger, right? That's the fear.
Yeah. Yes, Messenger or Hota would be kind of the 2 impactful characters that can hit the board.
Mm-hmm.
Another card we want to keep in mind, if it is relevant,
Right.
is we do have a Bolt and Flare still in Shadows on Alex's side. So that's still 2 gold character that can come out. So between one more Dornish Spy, a Southern Messenger, Hota, and the Flare, that's the tools that we know. Hota, we don't know if he has it or not, but at least the Dornish Spy and the Flare, those are still 2 tools that Alex has to work with here. And even getting through unopposed can be just huge to try and push this again like one more turn. So we will have the Intrigue Challenge come through here. This is also going to force Alex to either gamble the what will turn into a 1 in 8, because between the Dorn trigger and then discard, if he has one essential piece, it's going to be a 1 in 8 chance to lose it. And here comes the Intrigue through, 5-0. So we'll go Dorn, unopposed, putting costs up to 10. Southern Messenger hits the discard pile. That hurts a lot, because that's a power icon that you really wanted to see. So unless Alex just hit it off Dorn, you could kind of make a case that you wanted to have brought it out in this challenge just to force through a cancel, and then see
And also
about
get a power icon on the board.
Yeah, and then if Robert Strong's in Shadows, just try and essentially bait him out, because you can do like the military to try and like force another card to come out of Shadows. Bolt and Flare can still come out, do another challenge of its own, and Starfall's still there. So there were other lines, because that was the only ambush potential for a power icon.
So what's your order here?
So the ordering, so you do have one more spy in hand. You have the Flare.
If you military, he's got to do something to save
Yes.
Tyrion right away, right?
Correct. If you do the Intrigue, you can also like possibly pull out an option. The problem is, like, if you Starfall tiers a list, then any card comes out of Shadows and you don't care, you move on, because Tyrion's going to have any card come out and just tuck them back in. So that Tyrion is not going to stay on the board through the military challenge. We are going to have a military come through with both characters.
Okay,
so I guess he's respecting like a Mandan Moore or a Regent's Guard.
You can also strip whatever military icon comes down.
Exactly. If a Robert Strong comes down, you can still Starfall as military icon, and you at least will be able to kill him. And you still have the Pocket Spy to also come down as well, to be able to get through like an Intrigue challenge unopposed. You're not winning Dom here, so cost is right now very much in line to go up to 11. And right now, this is the Southern Messenger being pulled really hurts, because here comes the Robert Strong.
Yep.
Like,
because Southern Messenger could clear Robert Strong.
Yeah, because now with Robert Strong out of the way, Costas would have to have played the game of, well, if you have it, you have it, and at least protect Tyrion. Tyrion may still go into Shadows off this trigger. Interesting that they choose the Bolt and Flare to die there. because the Bolton Flare was going to essentially have to kill themselves currently, or any other character that Alex brought down. So if you're Alex, that's the card you wanted him to Robert Strong out of any
Well,
of
does that
them.
mean that like they're still got your Old Bill Bone or a Penny maybe?
It's
Is that
possible. We are going to have Starfall come through here, stripping the military. So currently, based on the gold,
now? So, but Tyrion didn't go away.
yeah, he didn't trigger Tyrion. There's still an underhanded methods to always, we have to assume is
Mm-hmm.
like assuredly in shadows that can pop out. We do have a Bolton Flare coming out here. So it can at least defend and not let through the unopposed. Though I could see, all right, and we have Tyrion putting a Rose Road into shadows. So Tyrion's been used for the turn.
Right, but he's got plenty of protection now.
Yeah. Yeah, Claim's just going to kill one. It's likely going to be the Flare.
Well, what he still has to put himself back into shadows before the end of the round, though, right?
Um, so Costas still has some outs, because even though Val Margulis is in Alex's plot deck, Costas is using Valor Dahyrus as a
Right.
reset as well. So he could flip Dahyrus, and if Alex goes Margulis,
Yep. Yep.
put
Yep.
him to the bottom of the deck. Granted, this is your last copy of Tyrion, so
Oh, it is?
ideally,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah, there's only the two, and we saw the one earlier get discarded.
Yep.
It's and again, it's a very valuable power icon. At this point, Alex though is also struggling for the power icons.
Mm-hmm.
He needs Desert Raiders are the closest he can get to getting one, and House Dane Escorts. We are approaching under 5 minutes, so we've got one more plot flip. I have to imagine is going to come through, because hopefully this challenge phase and Dom standing and everything don't take the remaining 5 minutes. But Alex needs this to at least go one more plot, and he cannot flip Morgulis.
So what's going on here? He brings the Dornish spy in, but he's already done his intrigue and his military. So what's happening?
He's gonna do an intrigue, and he's saying, "You don't have Iron Bank, you don't have Cover Feint. I'm gonna Tears." And he
Okay, I'm
wants
sorry.
unopposed and Tears. That's has to be the line here. But we have Regent's Guard bringing Tyrion out. They're going to be able to stop the intrigue challenge.
All the answers.
So, and that all, I mean, Dom's very much secured in this regard. I have to imagine that it's going to be Alex flipping March to the Wall as the next plot. He needs a plot with Claim. He needs to win initiative. Since he can't win die, that's his best bet. Robert Strong on the board actually feels kind of good. Tyrion can still pop him back in the shadows, so that doesn't feel great. But the econ situation for Lannister is also decreased since they popped the two Lionsgate. They played alone. Trading with the Pitoshi is the biggest econ plot, so they may just have to flip trading into Alex's March just to be able to contend. And that Regent's card will have to be March, because that's a ward target just waiting to happen. Just one more body to grab.
So are you saying, so does he have to march himself here?
Alex has to march because he needs to grab initiative.
Okay.
Any other plot from Alex,
This is going to be our last round. Yep.
Yeah, because anything else Alex flips is really not advantageous to his position. And I have to imagine Train with the Mitoshi will be flipped from Acosta's side, just strictly going with the I need every single dollar I can get. No, and instead it's double March. So Costas is deciding he does not need all the money. We'll see if that works for him.
That worked out pretty well
But
for Alex, I think, right?
there's still the 4 power gap to make up, which is a lot.
Yeah.
but having Robert Strong hit the discard pile, so that's now 2 gone. So I believe, let me pull up the list. Yeah, so there is 3 Robert Strongs. There's still 1 more he could hit.
But 4 power seems like just a gigantic gulf right now.
It does feel like a lot. So what Alex needs in terms of power claim potential, so if he wins a power challenge, he'll steal 1, go up 1. So then that closes it to a 2 power gap. So he needs to get an unopposed, and he has to win Dom to tie. Tying, though, loses the game because your draw deck's smaller.
Yeah.
So he needs
He needs
1 more source of power.
And what is
So
that?
his advantage, though, is so because Costas didn't flip trading for a lot of econ, 9 gold feels like a lot. And with Bowels, you can still generate quite a bit, but it's also not a lot. Like, Tyrion has to be the workhorse of so much. The best thing, though, is if for Costas is all 3 Dornish spies are now gone. They're done with. So that icon removal's out of the way. The problem is, you can't bring anyone out of marshaling here, because otherwise you can start taxing different cancels. So we just have 1 card in Shadows. I have to imagine that's just straight Tyrion at this point. And the underhanded methods. So House Stain escorts are needed.
But they are not accessible.
Yeah, well, not for the discard pile. We do have 1 marshaled out. So right now we are still staring at 2 cancels, and Alex needs to not lose not let through an unopposed challenge, not lose a power challenge. So that's a big ask for him right off the bat. And then he, on top of it, needs to win a power challenge, get 2 unopposed, and win Dom.
Seems like a big ask.
It's pretty big to ask of him right now. Like, that's I cannot understate how big that Southern Messenger pull last turn was. I think Alex would have been fine with any other card being pulled.
Yep.
Because, granted, maybe Costas plays it differently if he doesn't see the Southern Messenger hit the discard pile like he did, especially knowing there's only the 2.
With only 9 cards left in the draw pile, Alex has seen all of the cards now.
Yeah, between the Dorn triggers and everything, he has touched every single card in that deck. And having to, every time the Dorn triggering, make the decision of what am I taking, what am I bottoming. So he's had to choose like what pieces he does not need. And there's been a lot of Dorn triggers, so he's had to make a lot of decisions, and this game easily could have been lost by just 1 Dorn trigger not being correctly chosen. So we're just putting the board down. Problem is the no
only
gold.
1 power icon, yeah.
1 power icon. Tyrion can come out for more. So Costas is straight passing challenges completely. Now, right now, 7 gold is a very comfortable spot to be in when it comes to
as long as he can defend
Dom.
the power challenge, that's it, right?
Yeah. And that's all he has to defend. So I don't
So
think there's
what
any.
do you do? Yeah.
I don't think there's an out based
Mm.
on that because Starfall can be canceled and there's no chance of stripping the power icon elsewhere.
What I was wondering is like, what was stopping him from doing his Venomous Blade trick again and making red keep trigger and
Well, even
yeah.
if he does the Venice Blade here, you don't bite on it because the Desert Raider at this point, one, you have to lose the challenge. The only challenge you're going to lose is the power
Is the power
challenge.
challenge. So yeah.
So, and you're also putting then a power on the opponent's character. Sure, even if you mill claim them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're
There are
just
no tricks here.
I the Southern Messenger was essentially the game. If if it was the Dorn pull, that's very unfortunate. Otherwise, I think Alex would have had to have slapped it down, just immediately put it on the board, and
Mm-hmm.
pretty much be like, it's here, and make them play around it instead. And then when you do like the military challenge, like Robert Strong coming out isn't as great there because then it's just opening up the uh, clean power challenge.
Is there? Yeah, like so red keep stops it because like even if you've got some like Iron Bank shenanigans now, right?
Oh, we actually have Cat's Paw instead. So Cat's Paw is just going to,
Just knock him right out of there, right?
yep. He gets 2 from fouls to just equal the cost. He'll spend however amount to remove. He'll spend 2 to pick up the House Dane Escort. Power challenge averted.
Yeah,
And yep,
that's our game.
yeah. Interesting that was Cat's Paw that went in there versus like Tyrion, unless he was worried about like a trick. But it all worked
But is
out.
red keep protected against all the tricks, right? Because even if you, I don't know, Iron Banked and Hoted in, like red keep just stops that. I mean, you've got different things that stop that. So
There were, yeah. No, this ultimately the Alex's hope was lost last turn from the Southern Messenger because uh, this turn especially, like the whole double march to the wall, he would have been able to have 3 characters on board based on how it played out if he doesn't have Southern Messenger pulled. The double march leaves Southern Messenger, so that's just another power icon. And then he can still play out his board exactly the same. And he also would have gotten a power and stolen a power. But that's the game. It's definitely a hard fought one back and forth.
all right, next up we're gonna have. I think Robert and James have been waiting for this to end. So I'm gonna stop the stream real quick and then restart it just so I have a separate bit to export here.